All right, is the lighting okay? You're killing me, Smalls. Yeah, hey, hey. Connectors, what's up? DK here. Hope you're having a good day. It is the first of the month, 1st of June. Hope you have a good start to a fantastic month. And we get ready to go here. So I want to talk a little bit about boards. Boards are boring. I mean, that's not to say that boards of directors for nonprofit organizations are always boring. I'm just saying that the concept of the board is kind of boring and played out. But there's a reason for it. And the reason, quite frankly, is this. Boards are made up of people who may or may not necessarily be the best to be there. Let me give you an example of what I mean. I bet you if you work for a nonprofit organization, volunteer for a nonprofit, or a staff of a nonprofit, you've had this kind of conversation before about a board. We should definitely get him because he is a mover and shaker in our community. She would be perfect because she's got a lot of money. You know, every other nonprofit in this community gets him, so it probably makes sense that we bring him on. It would be a good idea. The problem with boards for nonprofit organizations is we pick them for all the wrong reasons. For example, if you're asked to be on a board and you feel good about this and you're excited that you've been asked to be on a board, do you actually know, or have you been actually told, what it means in terms of responsibility for being on a board? And by responsibility, I do not mean you come to the monthly meeting, you vote, you kind of sort of look at the PDF that was sent to you with the minutes and all the back information. You probably didn't look at that. But if you think those are the responsibilities, I don't think you know what a board does. Very often we put people on our boards of directors because we think the name is important. It's got impact, it's got some panache, it's got some strength, it's got some purse behind it. That's not a good reason to have a person on a board. In fact, that doesn't really represent anything that a board member can do. So what do? Think of your board as your ambassadors. They're the ones that have to go out and preach the good word, your values in your voice of your organization. If your board members can't do that basic thing or aren't doing that basic thing, you kind of need to look at your board again. Ambassadors mean gatekeepers, opening gates, getting gatekeepers to open their gates, getting their connections, their networks, their leads, their friends, their families to be a part of the larger family that is your nonprofit organization. A board member needs to do that. I call it sometimes board members, they're resume boards. What that means is it means a lot to the individual to be on that board because it fits nicely into their resume. And then there's the other thing, the letterhead board. And that means the organization recruits people that makes it look really cool on letterhead. By the way, for those playing at home, especially young millennial friends, a letterhead is a piece of paper that used to have an organization's name and an address, and sometimes they put the board's names listed on it, but it used to be paper way back in the day when we used paper. Why do we do this? Why do we make it so difficult for us? Because really what we're doing is we're putting people in the room, giving them leadership, and not giving them the tools and resources necessary to do anything for us other than gridlock. We've all seen it. We've all felt it before, right? Every month you get ready for your board meeting by not doing anything, and then probably 24 hours, maybe 48 hours before that meeting, you get an email reminder, and in that reminder it has the agenda, it has the financial statements, it has the committee reports. You barely sort of read them. You kind of do the top down of it. You make sure things are cool in a general sense, but you really haven't done anything. And then, more to the point, a little more zen here, what have you done the other 28, 29 days of the month? Have you done anything? Look, a strength of a board member resides in their connectivity and how they connect the organization to new people, whether it's new businesses, new individuals, potential new board members, new volunteers, whatever it is that the connection is. That's the strength of a board member, the ambassadorship, making sure that a board member gets the fact that their value aligns with the organization's value and their voice is a voice of the organization. That's the biggest thing they can do for you. And to all my brothers and sisters who are executive directors or presidents or running shops, you know when you have a board that is not supporting you because you spend more time dealing with them as more of a programmatic thing than they are as an asset. And when boards become the extra work of individuals, well, terrible things happen. First, like I said, programmatically, you are doing it, all the work is necessary for you to do, which means they're not carrying any water for you. So what good are they? And secondly, by doing all this, you're realizing no leadership potential whatsoever in your people. You're spending more time dealing with it as an entity and as a project than you are as an asset and a resource. The board, first and foremost, should be a great resource for the organization. You notice I haven't said much about oversight. Well, that's because oversight is probably the last thing that they need to think about. Oversight is a very, very complicated and important thing that organizations need, and the board does have a fiduciary responsibility to be overseeing of the organization in total. But if you hang your hat simply on that, that is to say, if you think you're on a board and your job is to make sure that the executive director is flying straight, you're probably not doing anything else. And you're probably only really moving up is when there's a problem. You know, something happens with your executive director, there's a conflict between staff, things go sideways on something, and then you feel like you have to step in. Again, if you sort of think that's what a member of a board should be doing or should be thinking about, you got it wrong. So what do? First, let's get hip to what it is to be a board of director, and let's give it a good, solid job description. Let's make sure every board member understands what it is. You could do this in a one-pager. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. One page explaining what a board member should do, and it really should be spoken in the voice of an organization. I talk a lot in my client work and consultations talking about value and voice. So identify the values of your organization, identify the voice that we use to represent our organization, and make sure board members understand both of those things because they have to push the values and speak in the voice. They're the ambassadors of the group. Those are two things they need to do. Secondly, let's be absolutely clear about what it means to move networks to activation. Their personal networks, their friends, their families, their businesses, and moving them into the network and asset of the organization. Being the gatekeeper, opening doors with gatekeepers, being connected, making sure people are understanding what the organization is doing and how they do it, and inviting people into the fold, whether it is on committees, volunteers, staff, board, any ways that they can get in there. So make sure that's crystal clear and say it. And lastly, most importantly, make sure board members understand that give, get, and arrange are key ingredients of being on a board. And now I'm talking money, actual dollars. They need to be helping with the fundraising. There's a lot of questions about this all the time about whether a board oversight, an active board, a passive board, advisory board. Where is the money? Well, the money is in the community and the board represents that community. So they need to be aware that they can go give the money right away, they can go get the money right away, or they can help the organization through arranging for conversations. Again, the gatekeeper model. And make it crystal clear that that's going to be looked at. And whatever that number is, that's the number. Stay with it. Again, this is not something that somebody needs to be evaluated on and scrutinized for. But we need to be crystal clear to our brothers and sisters who sign up for our boards that this is an active participation thing. This isn't passive. This isn't quietly in some borrowed law firm's conference room where once a month you're going to look at a profit and loss statement and say, yeah, we're doing all right, or we need to do better. It's much more than that. That's one day. We need the rest of the days to be a strong ambassador. And sometimes that is asking for money. And before I get the comments already about people saying I can't get more blood from a stone, I'm on too many boards, that's another thing you need to think about. The best people aren't always the ones that are on every board in your community. In fact, that is a serious liability. Just think about it from a practical standpoint. If I'm on 4 different boards and there's one company that is a pretty solid, strong company that I'd like to get money for, which board am I going to do that on behalf of? How do I pick? How do I decide which one is the best for that? If I'm on too many boards and I'm holding to too many masters, and that's a problem. So sometimes the people who we think are the best on our board because they are active in other boards is the complete opposite of what we need to be doing. We need active participants. We need people who can tell the story based on values and voice. We need people who can understand that gatekeeper and being a gatekeeper, opening gates is important for us. And we need to understand that the ask is important, the sharing the story is important, and working as an asset and resource to the executive director and staff is super, super important. Guys, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again. I really do appreciate it. My name is DK and I'm with Connect the Dots Movement. If you are interested in this, please like and share this video around with other folks, especially my fellow nonprofiteers. If you're interested in connecting with me, please send me an email right here, doug@connectthedotsmovement.org. We can set up a time for a coffee or a Diet Coke. That's the big winner for me. And if we set it up, it's a free consultation. Don't worry about that. I want to get to know you, your organization, your why, and if there's a way that we can work together and I can help you with marketing and strategic planning, public relations, board building, anything, trainings of any kind, we can work together. But I first want to get to know you and your mission before we even talk about that. So do not worry about contracts and dollars quite yet. Let's just get to know each other. Date before you marry. Also, if you like this video, please like and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook. It's right here, facebook.com/Connect the Dots Movement, and we are also on Twitter, so you can follow us there and ask questions there too. I do question and answer quite often, and if you want to ask me a question, you can do it right here. That's @WeConnectDots. Again, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. My name is DK. I'm with Connect the Dots Movement, and you have just been connected. See you around. You're killing me, Smalls. Woo! Nonprofit power.
In the way to the dance, feeling